And to show you, to just discuss for a moment how obscene the level of oligarchy in America is today, let me read to you what was reported in Bloomberg News just a few days ago. Quote, Bloomberg News, Elon Musk's net worth, $397.1 billion as of Tuesday's close, is up more than 50% since the election.
Señores, el poder del dinero en la política nunca ha sido un secreto. Pero en estos últimos años, esto ha alcanzado niveles realmente alarmantes, cuando las decisiones de un país pueden llegar a ser influenciadas por un solo multimillonario. El sistema democrático se debilita. En este escenario está bastante claro. Donald Trump ya ha demostrado ser el maestro en explotar esta dinámica. Hoy quiero que veamos cómo su relación con figuras como Elon Musk ponen en peligro la democracia y traen graves consecuencias en el futuro político de los Estados Unidos. Sean bienvenidos a Políticamente en Desacuerdo. Amigos, hoy veremos cómo el senador Bernie Sanders ha demostrado el aumento del patrimonio neto de Elon Musk desde las elecciones. Y esto nos demuestra lo obsceno que es el nivel de la oligarquía en los Estados Unidos. Pues perfecto, amigos, recientemente se han revelado datos muy preocupantes sobre el nivel de influencia que está teniendo Elon Musk desde que entró en el ámbito político. Esta inmensa fortuna que él tiene es lo que le está permitiendo moldear decisiones políticas en Estados Unidos. Y ojo, que no solo es en Estados Unidos, también en el extranjero. Pues lógicamente Trump, fiel a su estilo, pues ha sabido beneficiarse de esta relación, ¿no? ¿Qué puede significar esto para la política global? Quiero que veamos juntos este clip que les voy a mostrar, donde el senador Bernie Sanders nos demuestra sin pelos en la lengua lo que significa Elon Musk en la política de los Estados Unidos. Veamos esto.
And to show you, to just discuss for a moment how obscene the level of oligarchy in America is today, let me read to you what was reported in Bloomberg News just a few days ago. Quote, Bloomberg News, Elon Musk's net worth, $397.1 billion as of Tuesday's close, is up more than 50% since the election. First, Tesla Incorporated surged, then SpaceX became the world's most valuable tech startup, and XAI nearly doubled its valuation before looking to do it again. Now, X is looking to join Elon Musk, other companies, quote, in leveraging the billionaire's unprecedented political power, end of quote. But when we talk about oligarchy, it is not just the massive amounts of income and wealth inequality that currently exists. It's not just that we are living in two Americas, people on top, off doing their thing with incredible wealth, tens of millions of people struggling. That's not just what we're talking about when we discuss oligarchy. What we are also talking about is that today, the oligarchs have enormous political power. As all of you know or should know, we have a corrupt political system which, as a result of this disastrous Supreme Court decision on Citizens United, allows billionaires to literally buy elections. You get one vote, they buy elections. Mr. Musk himself donated $270 million into Trump's campaign, and his reward for that contribution is that he is now arguably the most important person in government, more powerful than Trump. Further, he is using his extraordinary wealth not only here in the United States, but to support right-wing extremists all over the world, including an extreme right-wing party in the election in Germany tomorrow. This situation is so absurd. This is how crazy the corrupt political system is in America now. And Musk himself is so very arrogant that he is intervening, getting involved in a Supreme Court election in the state of Wisconsin. And he is putting money against a candidate who has the very radical idea that women should be able to control their own bodies. But I want you all to think about it for a moment. Think about all that's going on in America. He is so arrogant. He's going to get involved in a Supreme Court election in one state. And if he can get involved and win a Supreme Court election in one state, what can he not win? Brothers and sisters, that is not the democracy that men and women fought and died to defend. And I should point out that the role of billionaires in politics, it's not just Musk, it's others. It's not just Republican billionaires, it is Democratic billionaires. It is the corruption of the two-party system. And that is why, among many, many other things, we have got to overthrow this disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision and move to public funding of elections. So in an America where the people on top are doing extraordinarily well, while over the last 50 years, you know why people in this country are angry? Over the last 50 years, the average that working people today are earning less in inflation-adjusted wages than 50 years ago, despite all of the increases in worker productivity and technology. Can you imagine that? Almost all of the new wealth that has been created has gone to the top 1%. So that's the reality that we're in right now. And I think about all of that, when I think about all of the money going to the top, working people struggling, I remember the very profound and prophetic statement that President Abraham Lincoln made at Gettysburg in 1963. And it's funny, every year I usually try to get to a parade in Vergennes, Vermont. It's a lovely parade on Memorial Day, and often the organizers of the parade bring up some high school kid who recites the Gettysburg Address. And if you all remember what Lincoln did, and this was in 1863, terrible battle in Gettysburg, thousands and thousands of soldiers killed trying to end the horror of slavery. And Lincoln looks out in the battlefield, and this is what he said, and it's important to remember, quote, "We here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth." And that is what we are fighting for, government of the people, by the people, for the people, not a government of the billionaires, by the billionaires, or for the billionaires. But it is not just oligarchy, as dangerous as that is. It's not just oligarchy that we are fighting. We are also fighting what is equally dangerous, and that is Trump's moving this country to authoritarianism. As some of you may have seen, Trump recently posted a statement that said, and I quote, "He who saves his country does not violate any law." What does that mean? It means essentially that Trump believes he can do anything he wants for any reason. He can ignore Congress, he can ignore the courts, he is above the law. And that's not just talk, that is exactly how he has been behaving. As many of you know, Trump, in violation of the Constitution and federal law, is attempting to suspend all federal grants and loans, and we've heard some of that from previous speakers. That means he has tried to block funding, and with some cases has blocked funding, for Medicaid, the Veterans Administration, Head Start, food stamps, homeless veterans, etc., etc. Tens of millions of Americans, some of the most vulnerable people in our country, were impacted by that decision. Fortunately, the American people have fought back, and the courts have stopped them from doing his worst. But as you heard, he is still trying and, in fact, is throwing out federal workers illegally and unconstitutionally all over this country. Unconstitutionally, he has dismembered agencies established by Congress. You can't do that, including USAID. USAID helps to keep alive some of the very poorest children and people throughout the world. That the richest person on earth is forcing children, the poorest children, to go hungry and unnecessarily die is a moral outrage. Trump has dismembered the Consumer Financial Protection Board, which has saved Americans billions of dollars from illegal corporate and banking activities. He has even taken control over the Kennedy Center and now wants to take over the post office as well.
Como pueden ver, amigos, Donald Trump y Elon Musk no son estos amigos casuales. Estamos hablando de una relación donde el dinero compra poder político y lo hace de una manera descarada. Y eso, amigos, es un problema gravísimo. Trump y sus aliados han convertido la política en un juego de millonarios. O sea, mientras tú y yo tenemos un solo voto, ellos tienen millones de dólares para poder financiar candidatos, poder financiar campañas, poder hasta comprar medios de comunicación para manipular la opinión pública. El caso de Elon Musk es esto clarísimo, ¿no? Sus inversiones en política le están devolviendo una influencia inmensa. Como les dije, no se trata solo de elecciones. Si las empresas privadas controlan el poder político, ¿a quién rinden cuentas? A nadie. Elon Musk lo está demostrando perfectamente. Usa su influencia para promover ideas ultraconservadoras. Y eso, amigos, es peligroso, cuando su dinero le permite manipular gobiernos. No solo es en Estados Unidos, se ha reportado que Musk ha estado financiando movimientos ultraderechistas en otros países. O sea, esto ya demuestra que el problema no solo es para los estadounidenses, Estamos viendo una red global de multimillonarios que están intentando moldear el mundo a su antojo. Sé que algunos podrían llegar a decir, pero los demócratas también reciben dinero de multimillonarios. Y sí, es cierto. Pero amigos, acá hay una diferencia absurda en la escala y en la ideología. O sea, mientras que los donantes demócratas suelen apoyar derechos en regulaciones, derechos civiles, etc., los donantes de Trump buscan todo lo contrario, buscan desregular todo. ¿Para qué? Para favorecerse a sí mismo. Lo que estamos viendo con Donald Trump y Elon Musk es la confirmación de que el dinero está dominando la política de una manera cada vez más agresiva y más descarada. Si dejamos que los multimillonarios compren el sistema, estamos hablando de que la democracia va a dejar de existir. Pero ahora quiero saber qué opinan ustedes. ¿Creen que Donald Trump está usando a Elon Musk para tener este poder absoluto? ¿Qué opinan de que los multimillonarios financien elecciones? Los invito a que me dejen sus opiniones en los comentarios. Recuerden que si les ha gustado este video, los invito a que me apoyen con un like, compartirlo con sus amigos y suscribirse a nuestro canal Políticamente en Desacuerdo. Nos vemos en el próximo video. Hasta luego.